welcome back to the in.pencil podcast.
Y'all know me. Still same old Trekkie, but living differently. Hated by those who don't know me, with no TI-83s. Those with fees, no MP3s. No PCs, no keyboard keys. They need a DOC, now that I can drive to school as I please. I got a house with no plaques, but a lot of facts about Star Trek in my mind for me to see. You think I'll go away with ease? You better watch both of your knees. Who do you think brought you the MP3s and brought you the TI-85 and 83s? And when you couldn't use the calculator easily, who was the one they told you to go see? Listen up closely. Y'all who said I turned to Casio, y'all don't know. You're the reason I've been getting no sleep. Forget y'all, all of y'all. If you don't like me, tell me. Y'all are going to make me commit a felony. Nowadays, everybody wants to talk like they got something true to say. But nothing comes out when they vocalize, but a bunch of lies. And they all act like they forgot about Donny. Nowadays, everybody wants to talk like they got something true to say. Nothing comes out when they vocalize, but a bunch of lies. And they all act like they forgot about Donny. So what do you say to somebody you'll debate or someone coming your way? Want to resolve things in an uglier way? Just study a paper of JDJ. One day, I was walking through the halls of school when I saw a guy trying to be cool. So I beat him with a piece of wool. I don't care if the principal's here or not. I'm having trouble trying to park his Dodge. I hit the side of a garage. I got out with a bruised leg, walk it off. Forget you two. Call the cops. I'll hurt you and throw you to a pack of hungry dogs. And when the cops came for me, Donny stood next to a pile of torn clothes with a bloody phone and a handful of bones and wasn't taken away. From here on out, it's better than the 82. Add a TI, it's the new. And I'm still crazy enough to fight with a plastic tool. He's the D. Jones, hotter than a mobile phone, and starving wolves with fresh bones. Calling people he's known. Sorry, Doc, insanity hasn't shown. It's okay. While driving to school, he only knocked down 3 cones. Now driving at night, alone, going home. Oh my. Nowadays, everybody wants to talk like they got something true to say. But nothing comes out when they vocalize. But a bunch of lies. And they all act like they forgot about Donny. Nowadays, everybody wants to talk like they got something true to say. Nothing comes out when they vocalize, but a bunch of lies. And they all act like they forgot about Donny. If it were up to me, you wouldn't come up to me looking like you want something for an 83. Now that I got company, you want the answer to problem number 3? But you won't get it from me because I'm from the streets of Chicago. I told you all the graphs, who do you think molded them all? Now you run around talking about Star Trek like I don't know it all? What, you think I forgot it all because I don't talk about it all? People say I will fall? What? I've been in the computer stores in the mall. I'm not hearing that. This is the millennium of just math. Nothing but that. Forget English, you can have it back. Where are all the mechanics at? The engine is my habitat. I know the car from front to back. Every little car fact. But you're trying to put a cat in the fan belt with a mat? So nowadays, everybody wants to talk like they got something true to say. But nothing comes out when they vocalize, but a bunch of lies. And they all act like they forgot about Donny.
Amen. So what was that?
That was a little ditty from 2000 called Forgot About Donny. You may have recognized some of its style as a really not well-known song from 1999.
Yes.
Called Forgot About Dre. Dr. Dre featuring Eminem off, forgot the name of that album.
2001.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
an album called 2001 that came out in 1999. There were rappers were so good with math in 1999. But yes, so this was a little thing that I guess technically I wrote because you were not a part of this,
No.
this particular version. This was something I wrote back in 2000 about Donny, our friend who is, as we've talked about before, and one of the reason why we started this podcast and
Yeah.
YouTube series and Instagram, Twitter, and all that.
Yeah. Yeah. So we're coming up on a year of him not being here anymore. Yeah. I often find myself like, looking to like habitually just like call him up, talk to him. And I'm like, oh yeah, I can't do that anymore. Kind of sucks. But yeah. So yeah. Do you want to talk? I don't know. Like,
So yeah, I mean, like there have been plenty of things where it is hard that first year after someone dies. It's really tough to get it in your head that they're gone. And I think for the longest time, I was like, this is all just some weird dream and like some optional thing that could have happened, but it's not the real storyline. It's just an optional quest we could have gone down. And so I'm just going to rewind back to the save point and go down a different quest.
right.
But that's not how life works.
Yeah. Can't do that.
So, yeah, so Donny, we've talked about plenty of times, I think, a little bit here and there. And yeah, so today we're just talking about, I guess, grief and loss, which we talked about before.
Yeah.
And remembering him. And like, it's tough. Like, when you lose someone, a friend, like I met Donny when I was a freshman. He was a part of a few of our groups. Like, Donny, Adam, and I were in a group, and then Donny and myself and a few other people. I'm not going to mention by name because I don't know if they want their name on a podcast. We're in another group. So I was in like 2 or 3 different groups that included Donny for years.
Yeah. Oh man, I met Donnie in 8th grade when he first moved to Tennessee from Chicago, and we had PE together, and we had homeroom together, some other classes together. I don't remember when it was. There's so many. Do you remember that year or that semester when he was like really pissed off at me for some reason? He was like,
that was semester where he was just pissed off at everyone.
was it? I don't know. He was
There
like,
was a semester he really didn't. He got annoyed with me and some of our other friends too.
yeah.
It was called being a high schooler.
Is that what it was?
Yeah. I mean, obviously, there's probably other factors going on that he would have to, that he never told me about necessarily that were going on. But yeah, being a high schooler, it's not easy being a kid, a teenager.
He was going through his emo phase, I think. But
didn't we all go through our emo phase at some point? I went through my emo phase in college, apparently.
I'm still in my emo phase.
All I listened to in college was emo bands. I didn't know it was emo at the time.
Like what?
Who did I like in college?
Skillet.
Yeah, Skillet's
emo as hell. Yeah.
What's their name? Good Charlotte. Man, I love me some Good Charlotte.
You listen to Good Charlotte?
Yeah. The Lifestyles of the Not So Rich and Famous.
I'd never known that you listened to that.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of other bands. I mean, Panic at the Disco. I never got it. There's some bands I didn't get into. I liked Evanescence. They were emo, weren't they?
A bit. What about My Chemical Romance and Blink-182 and
See, I kind of got into Blink 182, but not that much. They didn't seem emo as much as they were more punk to me.
Yeah, they were.
They had some very emo songs, but they also had some songs that were like not emo. And here's my definition of what emo was in the late 90s, early aughts is very sad songs with like punk rock or alt rock type music, but also taking yourself way too seriously. And Blink-182 was not a band that took themselves way too seriously.
Until their Untitled album.
Oh.
I think there was a switch there at some point.
Like songs like All the Small Things and What's My Age Again, or to me were like, that's not taking themselves seriously.
Yeah.
Which is a problem that I think musicians have. They just take themselves too seriously. But Donny loved Skillet. That was like one of his favorite bands. Every time he got a chance to go see him, he would go see him.
Yeah, he also loved Blink-182. Yeah.
I saw Skillet with Donny twice. You saw Blink-182 with Donny several times, I believe.
Twice.
And you saw Skillet with him once.
So me and him, all right. So I don't know if I've told this story before. You know about my tenure at McDonald's, right?
You mean your like day and a half or 1 day or 10? Do you mean by tenure by like 10 hours or 10 minutes? How long did you last at McDonald's?
All right, we'll get into my childhood employment real quick. So when
today on the podcast, Adam's resume.
Yeah.
It's lengthy, and you're about to see why.
All right, so when I was like 15, I think, but before, yeah. So anyway, I don't remember what year it was. Sophomore, 99, 2000, probably same year. I worked at Kim's Foodland in Pleasant View. And I don't give a shit who fucking these companies aren't around anymore anyway. It's HG Hills now, just in case you're curious. Anyway, I worked there, and
wait, did you work at the new one or the old one? Like the one on the new location or the original Kemp's?
The one across the street from the school on by Piggly Wiggly. Yeah.
So you worked in the new location, not the old Kemp's Foodland location?
Yeah, the old location is now like a real estate office and some other stuff. I don't even know. But anyway, yeah, the quote new, it was new in 1999 location. So I worked there.
Old.
Shut the fuck up. So anyway, I worked there and I was a bagger. I think I don't remember. Like time seems so like squishy and just kind of indefinable. So I don't know how long I worked there for. But anyway, I remember working there and I'm trying to like trace the steps of so I worked there.
Did you work there?
Job. Yes, I did. In fact, I did. That's my first job. Bagger. I remember always getting told to go like take cardboard boxes and put them in the box machine and getting told to clean the bathroom and stuff. Mind you, so it was very...
What does this have to do with McDonald's?
I'm getting there. Just give me a fucking second. Let me explain the story. God. Anyway, so I worked there.
Adam would be great at being the protagonist of the Titanic. It's been 84 years. Let me tell you the entire story of me being on the Titanic when I'm just asking about where's this necklace.
All right. So anyway, listen, we have a podcast to do. Quit interrupting me. All right.
Sorry.
So I'm trying to describe like the situation. So
he worked at Kemp's and he got rid of boxes.
And I bagged groceries, but all the cashiers were the females, and all the baggers were like teenage dudes like me, right? So you had all female cashiers, all male baggers. It was a very sexist sort of setup. The females would never had to go clean the bathrooms or do anything at all, do any kind of manual labor. They were just basically just cashiers. So anyway, there was this one cashier, I won't say her name. She was a pain in my ass, and she went to school with us. Do you know who I'm talking about?
Yes.
All right. So yeah. So anyway, she was a fucking pain in my ass. So like she was the queen of trolls.
Dear listener, we have yet to get to McDonald's.
I know we're getting there. Anyway, I'm telling the story. So anyway, one day, my last day working there, we were sitting. I was bagging groceries, doing my thing, whatever, and she was being all snarky and being kind of a bitch. And you know what? I was just like, you know what? Fuck you. Like, and I just said that to her. Just fuck you, right in front of the customer. Took the customer out, walked to the car. That was back whenever baggers like would walk out to the car with the customer. Remember that? Yeah, you didn't
Oh,
have to walk out
yes.
yourself. Yeah. So I walked her out, came back in. The manager was like, yeah, you can go home now. I was like, okay, why? Or no, I was like, okay. I was like, I guess I'm off. So I went and got in my car, took off, came back the next day, and the manager was like, oh no, I meant like you're not allowed to work here anymore. I was like, okay, fine. So then I went and got a job at a different grocery store.
That is a terrible manager if they did not make it clear that you were fired.
No,
Like,
yeah, well,
that is
obviously,
how terrible of a manager. Like you should have reported the manager for like wasting your time and then got the manager fired. Like, dude, if you're gonna fire someone, you have to say the words, like you're not allowed to work here anymore.
yeah,
Not just go home.
I got fired from my first job for telling the cashier to go fuck herself after she repeatedly, just kind of trolled me and fucked with me. It's hindsight, I think she kind of had a crush on me, but I'm not really sure. I had a, kind of an attitude when I was a kid.
He was emo.
I was a bit emo, yeah. So then I moved.
Okay.
Then I went to a different grocery store, yada yada, and
Which
then
is not McDonald's.
no, not McDonald's, but I'm not going to tell all that story. Basically, I just went and worked at a different grocery store for a couple months, and then, I got tired of driving as far as it was. It was like 20 minutes to get to that store, which now doesn't seem like a long time, but for somebody who had to like scrape by to pay for gas and everything, it was a lot of money to pay to just go to work. And I remember like I drove this 78 Buick LeSabre, and I remember you remember that thing?
Dear listener, we're on minute 5 of trying to figure out what the McDonald's story is.
It's fine. It's fine. I'm getting to it. All right. So,
yeah, and none of this has anything to do with the story, does it?
No, but it's getting there. Hold on. All right. Do you remember the Buick LeSabre? The red or the maroon Buick LeSabre that I drove?
Kinda?
I always said, oh my God, it was terrible. I love that car. I called it the tank. Anyway, I remember having to like come out of the grocery store after work, and it was freezing cold, and I literally had to pour hot water into my radiator so that I could drive home. Like it was a piece of crap. Anyway, so I got tired of working there, and then Donnie was like, "You should come work at McDonald's with me." All right, now I'm getting to it. Here we go. It all comes back.
So yeah, none of that was important. All he had to say was he didn't like his job, and Donnie asked him to come work at McDonald's with him. That would have cut like 10 minute off the story. Yay!
You know what else would have cut 10 minutes off? You would have stopped interrupting me. Anyway.
Yeah, but where would the fun in that be?
Yeah. So anyway, Donnie was like, "You should come work at McDonald's with me." And I was like, "All right." So
I went to work at McDonald's.
I went down there, and on a Friday afternoon, I interviewed for the McDonald's job, and it was the worst interview of my entire life. It's not actually true, but anyway, he was like, "Yeah, you can start today, and we'll make your schedule out." And I was like, "Okay, but Sunday is my birthday, and I have plans already. Me and Donnie were going to go to the Blink-182 concert." So I was like, I told the first day during the interview, I said, "Sunday's my birthday. I cannot work Sunday. Me and Donnie are going to the Blink-182 concert." Donnie worked there too, right? So worked that evening, came in the next day, worked like from like 5 a.m. to like noon or something. And then during that shift, they posted the schedule for the following day or the following week, which was Sunday. And I was on there for Sunday, which was my birthday and a Blink-182 concert, and Donnie had off. So you know what? I was like, no, I'm not coming to work. No way. So me and Donnie went to the Blink-182 concert. I brought my uniform back like the following day and was like, "Here you go. You don't respect." Like, I didn't even call in or anything. I just didn't show up. We just went to the Blink-182 concert. And I remember like, it was in my Buick LeSabre, which I just mentioned a little while ago. And I remember I left the lights on. We had to get jumped. We had to get the car jumped in order to make it home that night. We got home at like 11 o'clock or something. Anyway, it was an amazing concert. It was Blink-182, Newfound Glory, and Midtown. Kind of not really emo, punk, pop punk bands. Anyway, yeah. So yeah, I worked at McDonald's for 2.5 days, maybe if that, or no, 2 days. Yeah, it was great. And it was terrible. It was the worst experience of my entire life. I have an unlimited amount of respect for people who can work in fast food for any substantial amount of time because it's painful. It is painful. It's underpaid, overworked. You're hot. You're sweaty. You got smell and crap. Do you remember like when Donny? So Donny worked at McDonald's and he worked like a few other places. I remember one of the places he worked was Hardee's, and I
Yes.
remember every time I would like pick him up from work at Hardee's, he just stank and smelled like Hardee's. It was the worst. Like it was the worst smell, and it wasn't. It's not his fault. It's Hardee's, but like, oh, and underpaid. I don't know. Fast food workers, man, they deserve way more respect and praise than what they get. So there's my tangent. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. To all the fast food workers out there.
Yeah.
This has probably been an exceptionally tough year.
Yes. Yeah. See.
Bravo. Kudos to you for all the hard work, underpaid, and dangerous work you're doing.
Yeah. Unhealthy. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yes. I do not have many like awesome stories about going to concerts with Donny. I'm trying to think. I was trying to think of like
we went to that. We went to that Skillet concert where we were in like the very front of the arena. I'm pretty sure I have long-term hearing loss from that concert because
that was a Winter Wonder Slam with Toby Mac, wasn't it?
Yeah, and God, when was that? That was like 2009 or.
I'm gonna look it up.
8?
Let's see. If y'all don't know Winter Wonder Slam, this was a Toby Mac. Toby Mac, who was the former, I guess, lead singer, basically, of DC Talk when he went solo. When they all went solo, he did Winter Wonder Slam, and every year during the winter time, like I think it went November to January, they would go around the country and he would have a bunch of people. And so I went to it like 3 or 4 years, several with Donny. I think you went to it 1 or 2 years.
Yeah.
I got to see acts like Toby Mac was the headliner at each of those. I got to see Grits, John Rubin, Reliant K. Toby Mac also was a co-founder of Goatee Records, so anybody who was on Goatee was on the Winter Wonder Slam. B. Reith was there 1 year when he first started out. I think Matthew West might have been a part of that tour at one point.
Yeah, a bunch of Christian artists and bands and stuff.
And not necessarily like the really famous ones.
Yeah.
I'm trying to find it. Like I'm trying to find like how long this Winter Wonder Slam ran. But yeah, we went several times. It used to be here in Nashville. It used to be at Lipscomb, and then it moved to Bridgestone when it got bigger, because Lipscomb's auditorium was really small.
Yeah.
And it was a really cool festival, and we went to see Skillet, and that's the closest I've gotten to pyrotechnics in my life, because they would use fire.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize how hot it got when you're that close, and those flames is like, whoa.
Yeah. Not only that, the three of us, we were like right on the speaker. Like it was, very front. It was the standing area, very front of the arena. It was in the Bridgestone Arena. I remember that. God. We didn't see a lot of concerts there. We saw Matchbox 20 there.
Yep. You and I saw. Wait. Yeah. It was 2002?
What?
Yeah. Hold on. Yeah. You, Donny, and I went to see Matchbox 20 in 2002. I believe.
No, it was before that. Oh, actually, yeah, that may be right.
I think it was 2002 because it was my first ever time seeing them.
Yeah, that may. And then they were with Lifehouse and Everclear. Yeah, so there's
Oh,
some
yes.
late '90s bands and early 2000s bands for you.
And let me tell you something. Everclear really wasn't great. The sound wasn't great for their set. I don't know if you thought that, but it's one of those things where I couldn't hear what was going on. It was just it just didn't sound right. Like if the music and the amps and everything makes it where you can't hear the lead singer, to me, that's not good.
I don't remember. I don't remember honestly. I remember when did we go? Did we go see Matchbox 20 with Counting Crows or something at one
Yes,
point?
that was
That was more
in
recent. That was like
yeah, that was like
2015 or
20, yeah,
something.
something like that. We saw him in Atlanta, but Donnie did not come with us to see that one.
Was that in Atlanta?
Yep.
Okay.
No, Counting Crows was not in Atlanta.
No, we went to Atlanta for David Crowder.
No, yes, but also we went to Matchbox 20 and Goo Goo Dolls in Atlanta. Counting Crows and
That's
Matchbox
right.
20 was in 2017 in Nashville with Rivers and Rust as the opening band.
Yeah,
Is
which
that
was
the
like a
name of
side project of what's his name? Kyle. What's his
Kyle
name from?
Cook?
Yeah. Yeah. And we went all the way. Yeah, Donnie went with us. When we went to Richmond, we drove from Nashville to Richmond, 14-hour drive to go see Matchbox 20 and Goo Goo Dolls. That was the same year. We saw them twice in the same year, I think.
Goo Goo Dolls wasn't with them on the first show.
Yeah.
Not in Richmond. Oh, Family Force 5 was also on the Winter Wonder Slam one year. I know you're not thinking about this, but I'm still looking up all these bands.
Yeah. And
But anyway, so yeah, we would go see a lot of bands with Donnie over the years.
not only that, he was probably one of the most intelligent people I've ever known in my entire life. Like,
Yeah, he could do math in his head, like
not just like,
complicated.
yeah, like calculus and
Divi-
shit.
Earlier, I was downloading something. It was like 139 kilobytes, is what it said,
Hmm.
and I was trying to convert to megabytes, and I was like, Donnie would know how to convert this fast,
Oh, of
because
course.
isn't a kilobyte like isn't a megabyte like 1,032 kilobytes or something like that?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, and so like I couldn't do all the extra stuff, but Donnie would be able to do figure it out in his head in no time. In like just a few seconds, he'd tell me what 139,000 kilobytes is in megabyte form.
Hmm.
Uh, hold on, it'd be 512, 1,024. It should be 1,024, if right, because it'd be power of 2
Yeah, that's right.
kilobyte
That's right. That's right.
to
1024.
megabyte. Oh, apparently no. Apparently that we don't use that conversion anymore. It's just 1,000 bytes.
Oh, I guess they got tired of using the extra numbers or whatever.
Yeah, apparently they changed that. When did
Huh.
that happen?
I don't know. No
Not
one
that
told me. I never got the
yeah,
memo.
I thought it was still on powers of 2. Well, that shows you how old we are. Back when we were kids,
Oh
a
my God.
megabyte. Well, actually, first of all, when we were kids, there weren't really megabytes that people talked about. It was all kilobytes. Man, remember the first time you heard the word gigabyte?
Yeah, I do. In fact, me and Donnie used to like get. So we had this thing called Napster back in my day.
Is Napster still around?
No, it's not. Not in any form. I don't think anymore. It might be like a streaming. For some time, it was like streaming platform, but with Rhapsody, and I think that it's pretty much been obliterated now. But
It's apparently still around. It's Rhapsody is now Napster.
all right, well, it's
Was
definitely it's nothing close to what it used to be. Napster was like, I see a lot of people talking about LimeWire. LimeWire isn't the OG. Napster is the OG. Napster is what caused the music industry to, in no uncertain terms, lose its shit over people downloading music. You know, not really legally, but anyway, Napster had this freaking chat platform, right? So you boot up Napster on your Windows 98 computer, if I'm getting the times right on that, or Windows 2000. You boot up Napster, and they had the download section where you can go and search for different songs. You download like Green Day or Metallica or Dr. Dre. Who else can I piss off with this? And then yeah, the other section which was like a chat room section. So you're like, so he and I would get in there, and we'd get into the chat rooms, and we'd like start digging through other people's libraries, and we would just start downloading stuff out of their libraries, and then we would take the stuff we downloaded and then send it to each other. So we'd like split off on downloading stuff. So after that, we filled up. I mean, it took like, God, I don't even know how long to download an MP3. Maybe like an hour or something. Something ridiculous. Like MP3 was only is only like what, maybe 5 or 6 megabytes. And it would take literally an hour. It was ridiculously slow. Of course, we were in the country where there was 56K modems with that weird screeching internet AOL sound, and yeah. Yeah, we got on there and steal music and chat people up. We also had IRC, Merc. Are you familiar with Merc?
No.
We would get into this Merc chat room. We had it with a few people from school. Of course, I'm not gonna say their names, but anyway, there was oh god, what was it called? Woot W00T. That was the chat room we'd always hang out in. The Woot IRC chat room, and we'd go in there and steal people's music, and they'd steal our music, and yeah, it was a good time. Good time. That was what I remember. Like a lot of like high school with Donny was like going online and stealing music, and then going over to his house, and we'd get on Napster, or occasionally he would go to my house, but not very often. You know, but yeah, man.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't do many like technological stuff with Donnie that much. I think I've talked about this in previous podcasts. Like we did video games.
Yeah.
I was a big video gamer. I didn't care much for the internet because back in the day, video games weren't internet based. So I just played video games because that's what my mom taught me what to do.
Yeah.
She loved video games, so I played them too. And I spent very little time on the internet because I was impatient and I wasn't going to wait 3 hours to download a song.
Well, the trick is you set it and forget it. You set it and let it, and then you go off and do something else or whatever. That's what we would do. It's like we would always like, I don't know if you remember, I don't know if you remember the trailer he was living in, right? Do you remember
Yes.
that? The front porch area. So we'd go in there, set his downloads off, and then we'd go outside and like work on his truck or cook food on the grill or something like that. Just hang out, have a good time. But yeah.
Yeah. Oh, go ahead.
And I was gonna say, then there was tennis, which is a big part of our lives.
Yes. We played a lot of tennis. I got him into tennis. He was never as good at me at it.
No.
I thought he was, but he was just he got really good over time. But I'd been playing most of my life at that point, and so it was like I was many years ahead of him, and just he didn't know. I was taught techniques on how to play much better than he was, so I had a lot of advantage on him. But he had the confidence that he could win.
Well, he had like the desire for to do something, to be good at it, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like he had grit, he had passion.
He got me scared. I remember he was like, we were going to play tennis one time. He's like, I'm going to beat you. I'm so good at tennis and this and this. And I was like, oh my goodness, he might actually legitimately be better than I am because, he's bigger, stronger. He probably could beat me at tennis. Like if you're bigger and stronger, you are better. And so I was like, yeah, okay. And then he asked me a question, like we were going to play like one weekend. And so as the week was going on, he asked me, he's like, can I hit the ball and then jump out of bounds? And I said, excuse me? He's like, can I hit the ball, jump, and then land out of bounds and it still count? And at that point, I was like, he knows nothing about tennis. I'm going to wipe the floor with him. He's never played tennis before in his life.
Well, that was before you guys joined the team, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, so it was this was way before we were played tennis in high school together, and you were our water boy.
I wasn't the water boy. I was the manager. What did she call me? All right, so we had this tournament. Let's talk about the tournament.
The districts.
Yeah. Let's talk about that. It was hilarious.
So we're going to talk about it. So we had a tennis team, and it wasn't just Donny and me, but we're the only two people we're going to talk about in this team. We were very under. There were not many of us on the team, so so we had like a few good players, and then a bunch of okay players. And our coach was our guidance counselor because our really good coach left to be a principal at another school. And so our guidance counselor, who didn't really know tennis well, took over because she wanted the tennis team to continue. So I give her mad props for doing that. That is not an easy thing, just to be like, okay, I'll be the coach. I don't know how to be a coach for tennis, but I'll do it. But so we go to this tennis tournament. Adam shows up because, as I said, Donny and I were both part of the team, and he showed up to tennis practice and tennis games a lot. And so we were going to districts, which was an all-day event for 2 days. And our coach said, Adam, you could be a part of the team. So he got out of school just for showing up to games as a friend/fan, I don't know, of the team. It was okay. So
no, it was like, okay. Oh, I don't even remember how the whole thing played out.
I don't either. I just know you would always show up and she just lets you. I don't know, so laid back. You're our team manager and water holder or something. I don't know what your job was.
I didn't hold any water.
Do it, whatever it was.
I didn't do anything. I just hung out.
Yeah, you just showed up. So yes, we go. So the tennis tournament's taking place in May. I think this was junior year, where the big event happened.
Yeah,
you were there for so. We go up to our play where we're playing the tournament, which is outdoors. This year, fortunately, we had an indoor backup place. I hated it. It was so humid, and it was just so terrible. But we go up to play tennis, and as we're pulling in, so our assistant principal, decided, because it was a big deal. This was the biggest team we had, and we had some pretty decent players. We thought we might,
And just for context, okay, so this is a rural school, and we were the first class coming up. They had just built this school, and when we were freshmen, we were the senior kids in the class. We were sophomore, we were senior, junior, we were senior, and then senior, we were the first graduating class to this school. We were always the top. So this is the first thing. This is the first tournament for anything, and it's tennis, so it's a new sport for the whole. For that area and everything. So
this was our second year as a tennis team. Junior year, second year as a tennis team. First year was just kind of all over the place. So this was the first year we're actually really good. Those of us who played the first year, like Donny and myself and a few others, we knew what we were doing now. And we were all playing pretty well. I don't think Donny had won a game yet or a match yet at this point. I think he won his first match his senior year. And I'd won a few. We were very underpowered compared to everyone else, but we finally figured out how you're supposed to play the game. So we go into this event, and they're making a big deal out of it because, hey, it's a tennis team. It's the only tennis team in the county at the time. I think they added more tennis teams over time, but it was the only school that had a tennis team. So we go, our assistant principal, he's going to drive a school bus for us. So we don't have to all drive in our cars like we did the year before. And so we all go up there. all the players. I think my dad came too, I believe, and I think he drove his truck.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right.
Like he drove me the first year, but this year we all got in the school bus and we go up to play. And then as our assistant principal turns into the park, he hits a concrete curb and blows a tire out.
Yeah. On the school bus.
On the school bus, he blew a tire out on the school bus.
It was
I didn't know you could.
phenomenal. So it wasn't a curb. It was like there was
Oh,
it was all right. So he was going up it. All right. So it's a constrained driveway to get up to this place where we were going. And as you're heading up the hill, like there's a hill, it's a small driveway. I call it a driveway. It's a road, but it's a small road. You go up the hill, and then there's like a T, and there's a right-hand turn and a left-hand turn. And on the right-hand side, there was a lamppost. They had a concrete pillar holding the lamppost into place. And so he's taking a right, and he cut the right too short. The back wheel ran up on the concrete pillar, which was probably about 3 feet off the ground, right? And it sliced the tire, just completely sliced it. And you felt the bus like get lifted up and slam back down. It was freaking hilarious. They had this, yeah.
It was a loud pop or whatever.
Yeah. And we're all like, what the hell was that?
Yeah.
So they had to call out like a repair team to come out to the field to fix the bus while we were there playing tennis.
Yeah. Yeah, so it was noisy. People complained because you heard this like loud
drilling and stuff.
Yeah, over and over again and I mean it didn't take them that long, I think, to repair it once they started, because it doesn't take forever to change a tire.
Right.
My guess. I don't know how long. It seemed like it was all day, but obviously it wasn't. So yeah, that happened. And then we all play our first round match, right? And so it's myself and another girl who we're the only two that win our first round matches. Everybody else, because in districts, everybody gets to play either singles or doubles. They make it where anybody who wants to play plays, and then they rank them based on various things. And everybody loses their first round match, but the two of us. So we're on playing our second round match, and then we started at 9 a.m. Was our first match, and 12 was our second. And then the next day it was going to be 9 and 12 for the semis and the finals of districts. And those who went on to the finals of districts go on to the next event. So we're playing our first round match, and I won, which was awesome. 7-5, 6-2. I still remember the score because it's the only districts win I had. And a person who was new to the team that year, she won as well. I forgot what her score was. And then we go on to our next match. And y'all went to lunch around this time, like 11 o'clock or so.
Who did?
Y'all, everybody, the whole team went to lunch.
Oh, and you were still there.
Yeah, the two of us were still there because y'all went to, like, I don't know, Applebee's, Outback, whatever. I don't remember
at all.
I don't remember where y'all went, but y'all went to lunch. It was early May. It was like 98 degrees outside.
Yeah.
It was so hot. I was drinking Aquafina water and it tasted terrible. It was so bad I stopped drinking water because I couldn't stand it. I don't know why I ended up with Aquafina, but to this day I don't like Aquafina because of that event.
Yeah, I don't like it either, just because it tastes like metal. But continue.
Yeah. So y'all go on to lunch at like 11 a.m. or something. And we can't. Neither of us, she and I, have to stay because we have to play a 12 o'clock match. We wouldn't get to lunch and get back. So we don't eat. The only thing I eat is like bananas that my dad brought or something.
Right. I vaguely remember that. Yeah.
So that's when I learned bananas are great. No matter how hot or cold it is outside, bananas taste good.
Yeah.
So we play. And I think y'all brought us back some lunch too, which I did not eat because I just played a match, like an hour match in very hot temperature. And I was like, I don't want to eat any of that greasy food. But yeah, so yeah, I remember seeing y'all take off, and I think I was still in the match when y'all came back, when I saw the bus finally come back. And my favorite thing was, so me and one of my teammates, we were actually on courts right beside each other. And I remember at one point, I'm like, I call out, it's the start of a new game. and I call out the score, love 5. I was down 5-0 because I was playing a really good player. And I knew I was probably going to lose because I lost a lot. Let's just face it. I was playing higher. I was a higher seed than I should have been.
Right. But you were the best
just,
one on the team, to be honest. So, yeah.
Not always. Some years, sometimes, yes. But I was just the most experienced.
There's another person who starts with a K. I think she was actually pretty good, too.
Yes.
Yeah.
She was the person who was playing beside me.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
So right. I call out my score. It's love 5. I'm getting destroyed in this game. And then I hear her right after I call out love 5 to serve down love 5. She calls out 5 love. I'm like, the juxtaposition was just so perfect.
Yeah.
I lost. She won. She lost in the next round, unfortunately. But I lost that round, and it was. I mean, I was okay with it. I knew I was going to probably lose, but I won earlier that day, and it was sad because I think she could have won her next match the next day, but she didn't. I think she got a little nervous. She was still new. This was her first. Like, she'd been playing tennis for like 3 months at that point, and she was doing really good.
Yeah,
she was very athletic. Played a few other sports, and I think she just got a little nervous on it, but. So I think she could have gone into the finals of districts, but I digress. And then we all got on the bus and went back to school. And we actually, I don't remember if you came the next day, but we all came back to support her because she was the only one who made it to day 2.
I did. Yeah. So takeaway is I got out of school for just nothing, just hang out with my friends. It was great.
Yeah. Yeah, I can't remember. I think it was his senior year. Donny finally won his first singles match. He'd won some doubles matches, but he never won a singles match. And I remember when it happened, it was against the best team in our district. And he was so happy. And I was so shocked. I was like, whoa. And I think that was senior year. That might have been junior year. And I don't know how many matches he ended up winning. But I do remember that first win against the best team in the league or district, technically. And that was really cool.
Yeah. Especially whenever you see that, like, he worked pretty hard to be good at it. We practiced a lot. Like, I think we went like at least once or twice a week, right? Down to we practiced a lot.
And we didn't just play. Like, tennis season is February through May. For schools, but we played all summer, played all fall, played in the winter, and we just play a lot. He practiced it. He liked it. I don't know why he liked it so much. If you know Donny, like, you wouldn't think he's an athletic person because he's not. But with tennis, he loved it.
Yeah. Well, not only that, he actually, he followed it. He followed like the professionals and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, once he learned, like, 9th grade, he got into tennis. I think it was 9th grade because of me, or 10th grade, I can't remember. And then he just stuck with it and was watching it, paying attention to it. He didn't like many sports. He kept up with football.
Yeah.
Because he was a Packers fan, and he was from Chicago, which meant he hated himself, apparently.
Yeah.
He loved ragging all his family were Bears fans.
Yeah.
And he was not. It was so funny.
Yeah.
And then that was that sport and tennis. I can't think if he kept up with really any other sports that much.
I mean, when we were like in 8th grade, I remember he'd always wear like Chicago Bulls stuff and everything else. Like, so I'm not sure how much he followed. Like, I think that was like the late Jordan era, roughly.
Yeah. We started high school. It was 8th grade, I think, was the last of the if you've watched the Last Dance documentary, it took place when we were in 8th grade. For the dear listener. And if you have not watched the Last Dance documentary, I think it's a great documentary.
I haven't seen it.
I really enjoyed it. It's a little like love of Jordan because it's actually produced by Jordan's company. So it is a love letter to Jordan. So but it also talks about, like, it is an interesting look at
how does it treat his baseball years. That's what I'm curious about.
it actually treats them much better. It talks about like it was tough years, but also he was getting better over time, which is something I didn't know. And he and it talked about like in the documentary, it talked about how he probably would have stayed in baseball if it weren't for the strike in baseball. Baseball went on strike, so he didn't play, and he needed something to do, so he started playing basketball again, and he got back into basketball. But apparently, I mean, yes, The Last Dance is partially produced by his company, but some people thought he would go on to be a major leaguer. Because, and I mean, I get it. Like he had the drive. He played baseball as a kid. He had the drive. He had the money to be able to take time and effort and be able to play minor leagues for as long as he wanted. He didn't need the money.
Right.
And apparently he was getting better. I've never looked up his stats. Everybody talked about, they made fun of him when he kept striking out, but then people just stopped paying attention to him, and apparently he started getting better after the writers stopped paying attention to him.
Psychological.
Yeah. And then he got good. He was getting better. Probably going to be promoted to the majors in the next few years. Could have, but turn around and the baseball strike happened, and so he couldn't play baseball because he wasn't going to cross the line, and he went back to basketball.
Yeah.
And the rest, as they say, is history.
Indeed. They do say
some
that.
of it.
I've
some
heard
of
them
the
say
history
that.
is with the Wizards, and nobody wants to remember his history with the Wizards. But yeah, Donny was from Chicago, so of course he was probably a Bulls fan in the 90s. I guess. I don't know.
Yeah. I got so many good memories with Donny.
Yeah, I mean,
like,
as I said, most of my memories are video game related and tennis related.
Did we talk about Festivus already? I don't remember if we talked about that already.
Probably not. There for a few years we celebrated.
Yeah, we did.
It was
yeah.
It's really hard to celebrate Festivus because there's only a few things, and they're not like all the things you get from the interesting enough episode called The Strike. About a strike. An episode where you learn about Festivus, or at least the version we hear about. Because Festivus was actually a real thing, right? By one of the writers' parents had invented it or something, and he brought it to it or something like that.
Yeah.
But you only hear like 3 things that happen, and you can do that all in like 10 minutes.
Yeah, but that's the great thing about it is you can manipulate it to be whatever you want it to be.
And we all celebrated it. Your family got into it, it seemed like, because they were coming to Festivus parties.
Yeah, they were at the first one in 2011. And then, yeah, I don't know. When I think of Donny, I remember all the good stuff, and I remember some of the not so good stuff. But then the good stuff always outweighs the bad.
Yeah.
He was the greatest human being to ever walk the planet. I firmly believe that. He had strong. He was highly intelligent. He had strong moral integrity. He was always extremely nice to everybody. Like, I don't know, like just giving, compassionate. Yeah.
I don't think he was the greatest human being to ever walk the country in the world. Donny, I don't think.
Who's better than Donny? Jesus? You're gonna say Jesus or Gandhi?
No. I mean, I don't know how you define greatness, so I'm not gonna say he was the greatest. He was just a really great guy who was always there. I still remember like times where I was like super depressed and down, and just we'd go out to the bookstore or a video game shop, and we'd look around, and it just always picked me up.
Yeah. Going to Game Trader and yeah.
Those were great times. Like that's probably the thing I miss the most is those things. Those little just going out, going around a shop for a few hours, going to a few different shops, maybe buying something, maybe buying nothing, going to get some food at some random place, wherever we could find,
Yeah.
and dropping him back off, or he dropped me back off, and that's that.
Yeah. I'll always remember the times that I would get suspended from school and he would skip school to be suspended to hang out. There were a few of those.
I'm remembering things from my like 20s and 30s, and you've got like memories from your teens.
No, I mean it's all meshed in together.
Yeah,
Honestly,
and I mean there was like you two I think hung out by yourself, hung out a lot more in your teens, but like when we got into our 30s, you were out of state for a while with your work, and Donnie had moved back into Nashville where I was living, and so we got to hang out a lot more.
yeah,
Because there was time in after we graduated high school, we went 3 very different directions. And so we still hung out, but not as often. We'd like meet up every few months or every like 6 or so months and just hang out for a while, like a week or something, where we would see each other several days, and then we'd be off back to the world until our late 20s.
Then there was that year that me and Donnie lived together, and that we were at each other's throats for some period of that.
Yeah. Never live with your close friends.
Oh, lesson learned. Trust me. But
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, that was still a good year. Like,
Yeah.
we played tennis a lot that year, and God, yeah. I mean,
also, yeah, you learn like Adam's a very neat person. He likes order and cleanliness, and Donnie does not care about those things, or did not care about those things as much.
Yeah.
And that type of personality difference is always tough. It's okay when you're just hanging out at each other's place, but when you live together, you both are dealing with the same stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. But I mean, it was fine.
Yeah.
I mean, we were still best friends after that. Like, we
Yeah.
we had some differences in opinions on how things should be run around, but regardless, we got that was when we did the water bucket, or the what is it called, the ice water challenge.
Ice bucket.
Yeah, we did that, and I was in college at the time. Donnie had just finished college or something. He was working. I don't remember where he was working at the time.
I'm making a lot of noise over here.
It's fine. It's fine.
He did not start back to college yet, I don't think, did he? Yes. Wait.
That was after he'd already lived in Clarksville.
Yeah, I think he was back. He went to college for a few years, and then he quit for a few various things that came up that he couldn't finish. And this was after that.
Mainly, he wanted to work and have money, because he wasn't working and having money when he was in college.
Yeah.
Because he was going to the same college, not the same college. He was going to college the same time I was going to college, but my college was already covered, and he had to do student loans and stuff to cover all that stuff, which student loans suck. So
yeah, it's not a great situation when you do student loans. I can personally attest.
I can also personally attest. I took out some student loans to finish my master's degree, and I'm still paying for them. So that sucks. But anyway,
I think overall, as we're coming up very close, we're within a few weeks of
the 1-year anniversary
of his death, and it was tough. It wasn't. I mean, I don't try to remember like the last like year and a half, because that was just a different situation, and it was just tough. Like, it was much different. It wasn't the same Donnie.
Yeah.
I didn't feel like, and I mean, I get it. Like, that's when you were told, hey, you got an incurable disease that will kill you.
Yeah.
Most likely in the next 2 to 3 years.
Yeah.
I don't know how you deal with that.
I don't know either, but he dealt with it like a champ.
Yeah, I mean, he did great, but it was just like, it was tough on him. I think it was tough on all of us, just like, oh my goodness, what are we doing? We're watching this.
Yeah.
We have to watch this, and this is not something that's easy for anybody involved.
Single-handedly, the most difficult thing I've ever experienced, without a doubt. Like, I mean, I've been, been through some shit, but that was the worst. That was the absolute worst.
Yeah. Yeah. I still remember one of the good memories I have from that time. One of the best things that happened was I was like hanging out with him and we watched King of the Hill episode, the one where they're all volunteer firefighters.
Oh yeah,
that is still to my day my favorite King of the Hill episode. And he was going through it because he didn't have much else he could do.
Right.
So he was going through watching a bunch of stuff, and we sat and we watched that episode together, and that was great.
Yeah.
And I still remember that as like the last really amazing, cool, fun experience because we didn't get many more of those after that. I still remember our last video game party too, which happened like early on in the diagnosis. And we created this video game party that we played. This was the 10th year of it. This year was a lot different from previous years. One, Donny wasn't around. And two, we couldn't get together because of COVID.
Yeah.
But like I remember that party. It was in 2018. He always beat Super Mario World. I mean Super Mario Brothers, the original game.
Yeah.
And he couldn't do it because it was too hard.
Yeah. He had to stop playing video games. Yeah. Because I remember I was overseas. I was in another country for work. And before all that happened, like we were playing Mario Kart 8 on the Switch online for like every so often we can all play together. But then like once he started to get in that, like once it started to take over, he lost he's like, I can't play anymore. I can't really move my thumbs or do anything.
Yeah.
It's like, well, shit.
Yeah. I remember there were a few times he would text me like, "Hey, what are you doing right now?" And I was busy. He's like, he said, "Adam and I are playing Mario Kart. Want to see if you join us?" And I just, the times that you could play just never lined up with the times I could play, or something like that. And it was like, oh, okay. But yeah, his final game, he actually did beat a game that day. He couldn't play Super Mario Brothers. He couldn't play a few other games, but he did play Super Mario Brothers 2. And he beat that game. I don't know how. That seems like a tougher game. That seems like a really tough game. But he beat it, and he was like, well, that's the final game I'll ever beat.
Wow.
And for as much as I know the date and the time because we always would mark the time of the final ever video game that Donny beat. Super Mario Brothers 2 on the last Saturday of July in 2018, I think.
Yeah.
And it's just wild. Like I saw that and it was like that was just heart-wrenching. And then this year, I remember if you remember this year, I say this year, it's 2021 now. But the Super Mario 3D All-Stars pack came out.
Yeah.
And I played back through the 2 games that are in that pack. There are only 2. I don't care what anybody says. There are only 2 games that came in that.
Galaxy and 64, obviously.
Yeah, there was no other games. I don't know why they didn't add a 3rd game. They had room for it, but they just
could have done Galaxy 2, honestly. But
yeah, but I was playing through that, and it was like tough because I remember like Donny was the first person. He did 120 stars on Super Mario 64 on my N64 for me one time, just to show me he could do it. He took all the ones that I had already gotten in 3 hours. He added on the rest of the stars because he could, and he just showed me. And then at our first video game party, he played through Super Mario Galaxy back in 2010, and that was the big game he beat that took him all day to beat. And at this year's party, it was much different, and we only beat like a few games. Normally we beat like 5 to 10 games, but this year there was only 2 games that were beaten, and that was Super Mario World, and Super Mario Galaxy. I went through and played that and beat that, and that was really tough to think about. Like, I'm doing this in this game I did not play when it first came out. I have really no nostalgia for it, but what I do have nostalgia for is him playing that game.
Right. Yeah. I remember the Mario Party we did at his apartment. He played through all that. Like all the 3D games he played through, I think. If I remember
Yeah, he
correctly.
beat Galaxy 2 that year.
Yeah.
And
And we were there like all day. Like I think I got there at like 8 in the morning, and we were there till like midnight. I think. Like,
there was one party where our last game was beaten at 3:30 in the morning.
was that at his house, his apartment?
I don't know which year that was, to be honest.
Dude, that one went on forever. I don't even know, like, cause like I don't remember who else was there, but there, other
Yeah, there
people we know.
was.
But yeah,
We
wow,
we changed up the format around 4 or 5 to make our fourth or fifth party, so we wouldn't do those late nights anymore. And then we got in a routine where we'd finish up by like 10 o'clock every night.
yeah,
And we hope to have it back next year in person.
we'll
And do
see.
a true, yeah. It'll be next fall at the earliest.
We'll see what the
Yeah.
what the
How
world
things,
brings us. Yeah,
yeah. I say next year again. I meant this year. Like this
because we're
past year.
2021 now.
Yeah. I keep forgetting what year it is. But we normally do it, and we've always done it in July, but this year we delayed it and we did it in October because we thought we could potentially do it outdoors, socially distant, or so we need to be a little cooler. But we ended up just doing it online, and next year hopefully we'll do it in person. But if not, this year or 2022 in person again. And I don't know what we'll play. Maybe we'll actually beat Super Mario Brothers 2. Or maybe we'll never actually beat it. We started the game, we played it, but we've never beaten it because I'm just like, I don't know if I ever want that game beaten again at one of our parties.
Yeah,
I
that's
think we
fair.
should play it. I like the idea of playing it and not being able to beat it because none of us are good at it. Good enough to beat it in a day.
I don't even know if I've ever beat it. Honestly, I
I
don't
haven't
know.
beat it in like 20 years. But I just kind of like that idea of like we all try, but we all fail.
Yeah.
Just
Well,
to,
on a separate note, who I don't remember who played Lost Levels during the Mario parties. Like
my sister played it one year.
I I got the Game and Watch thing. I showed you that the little.
Yeah.
Oh, you got it too. But the
Yeah, I
little
did.
freaking I'm playing through Lost Levels or Mario Brothers 2, the Lost Levels on that one. I I turned on Infinite Lives because I can't do it.
Makes sense.
I'm on 7 right now. I'm on 7-4,
Ooh.
and so I was on that. I've made it. I didn't skip any. I didn't do any warps or anything because I realized that like one of the warps takes you back to World 1. Like,
Yes.
but so I turned on Infinite Lives, and I which castle it was. I think it was the World 6 or no World 5 castle. I spent like basically 4 days trying to get to that castle. Like, I finally got through it. And I was like, yes, Donny would be so proud. But no,
It is.
it's
That is
hard.
a tough. Yeah. I have. I think I played it. I was playing on the All Stars, the SNES, the SNES version of it, playing the Lost Levels, and I think the best I did, I got up to like D4, which is the final level in the game because it goes 1 through 8, worlds 1 through 8, and 4 levels, and you can get to world 9 in a special way, but most people won't get to it because you have to beat like levels 1 through 8 like 4, 5, or 8 times in a row, and then you get world 9. But then you can go into the special levels, which are A through D. And they each have 4 levels each, and I think we got up to D4. Like a bunch of us were playing it for years. And we got up to like D4, but never beat the final level.
Yeah, I just turn on Infinite Lives and I'm just like, I'm never gonna reset this game. Like,
Yeah. It's just like, it's a tough game. And I just speedrunners go through it like it's nothing. And I'm like, I hate y'all. I mean, granted, they spend their entire lives playing it. So maybe that's why.
I think it was even too tough for Donny, honestly. I don't think he ever beat
Yeah.
it. I'm not sure.
We played it a few times and just like, okay, we got through a level.
Yeah.
But yeah, so
But ALS sucks. So
yes, it does. Yes, I don't know if we actually said why he died.
yeah, we discussed it before. But
Yeah, but if you didn't know, it's ALS.
terrible, terrible disease. Nightmare.
Yeah.
That was a living nightmare, and still continues to be a living nightmare because, that I can't call or text him anymore. I can't go hang out with him. I can't fly him to Hawaii. I can't fly to Tennessee. Yeah, just sucks. So,
Yes. Well.
So on that note, we'll say fuck ALS. Miss you, Donny. Miss Donny.
Yes, we do miss you, Donny.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
really, not really good ending to this.
No, just a personal episode, just for our own sort of recognition and reminiscing, more or less. So
one thing is true: we will not forget about Donny.
No, we will not.
Or his TI calculators, which I forgot what calculator he had. We were in the math club together, so
yeah,
that song had a lot of math references.
Yeah. I have lots of stories, but anyway, I'll digress. So, all right.
Until next time.
I've been Adam.
I've been Jess.
Life is not written in ink. We change, we grow, we make mistakes, we learn, and eventually we fade away. Life is written in pencil. Thank you for listening to the In Pencil podcast.